Welcome to the Twilight Saga podcast.
Hey, I'm Wick Godfrey, the producer.
Hey, I'm Rob Pattinson, the actor.
I'm Bryce Dallas Howard. I play Victoria.
I'm Xavier Samuel. I play Riley.
I'm Dakota Fanny. I play Jane. I think. Hey, Rob.
Oh, Rob, you've changed.
I know.
So handsome.
The pressure of the film is kind of compacted me down.
Yeah. I saw David Slade outside getting mobbed by a whole bunch of 13-year-old girls.
He's having such a good life these days. This is, what is it we have to
We're
say?
here with the badass vampires.
Yeah.
The bad vampires, the evil
bad
vampires,
vamps.
the different types, representing the Vulturi. And then there's just Victoria with her evil agenda.
Yeah, she's all alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird seeing you with actually your real eye color.
Yeah.
I remember them all just being red.
Right.
Yeah, like, green eyes. Yeah, and yours are kind of blue.
We don't actually look like vampires in
Because
real
like,
life. Yeah, I
yeah.
imagine that.
Well, we, you know, obviously when we're shooting the entire time, you've got red eyes, and then like the only other time we see you is in an ADR stage where it's so dark I can't see.
Yeah,
the color.
Right, right.
It's nice to see you in some daylight. Yes. Anyway,
If we start glittering, then
yeah,
You know what I'd love to talk about, because one of the things that David really got to tackle in this movie that we haven't in the other ones is just the sheer aggressive violence of the newborn vampires, and I feel like the kind of external threat of the movie is greater in Eclipse than it is in Twilight and New Moon. And I'd love to just talk about your process, you know, in kind of training for this stuff, and sort of how you guys created the characters of the newborn vampires, and go from there.
we talked a lot, didn't we? We
Yeah.
did a lot of us three here because I guess it was one of those things of time when you came rushing in, you knew your character. We talked a bit, and we had a bit more time, so we did talk about, you know, Riley's arc off screen just to get a sense of where we were going. I remember
and
that.
not, you know, delving into cliches or stereotypes and kind of making this really well-formed, well-rounded, kind of complex villain in a way. And yeah, we talked a lot about how he harbors this kind of immense hatred and rage towards humanity, because that's exactly what he's been deprived of. And it's kind of really juicy stuff to kind of to tackle. And I'm really glad we had those conversations, because it really informed the performance. And then, you know, working with this one over here was
I mean,
just
you got
kind
to
of
practice
wonderful.
kissing a lot. That was very
did,
important.
yeah.
None of what you guys did had anything to do with Dakota, because she's like, I'm going to use them as my tools, whether they're good or not. Evil Jane will use the newborn vampires.
I know, we keep talking about, you know, the fight training and how powerful the vampires are, and how powerful a newborn vampire is. And then we're sitting here with Dakota, and literally all her character has to do is this. And it's just like, she destroys people.
I get to walk up and
Yeah.
just...
We feel so
Look at
inferior.
It was funny because when I was like, when you first started, because you were so quiet and it took turning my headphones up to actually hear it, really hear what it was that you were doing, and then I was like, because my heart just went at the moment, and I was like, oh no, of course, it's so soft, so quiet, so dangerous and vicious, because it gives you a place to go to. And
Yeah,
it
exactly.
makes us that little smile that you do every now and again, so the more evil. But I can say, which is 100% you doing that. It just, I had almost a heart feeling
It's so
when I first started.
captivating, isn't it?
Yeah.
This
Are you saying that Dakota's really evil? You're saying it's 100% her?
Yeah.
100% all her, yeah.
I just love the levels.
to you, Dakota. I wonder why.
I like the levels of manipulation. You know, you're manipulating him, you're manipulating them, and it's just
I'm
all part of, like,
manipulating
this big
some
massive-
newborn
And you're,
vampires.
and you're manipulating all of
And
us.
I'm manipulating. faster.
Yeah. Like this.
We all just laugh.
Yeah. Talking of softness, I want to talk about the decision to make Victoria's voice soft, which was really lovely. I thought it was, I think it was your idea, I think.
Well, it's-
We talked about it, I know,
Yeah.
but I think it was your idea to start with.
I mean, we talked a lot about it because it was, for me, when I read the book, it was the thing that kind of jumped out to me the most, which was that surprise that Bella feels when she finally hears Victoria's voice.
Yes.
You know, she's been a threat throughout Twilight and throughout, obviously, New Moon, and then in Eclipse, she kind of poses this enormous threat. And then finally, when she hears her voice and she's in her presence, it's kind of startling to her because it's nothing of what she expected.
Yeah.
And I wanted, the way that Stephanie described it was almost like she almost had like a little girl's voice. And something obviously that we talked about a lot, and then we talked to Stephanie about, is is how do you have that little girl's voice, but also sound ominous and sound
Yes.
powerful and
But it was
and have
great because you
intention.
did. You just put those little, like my dad.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Do you know what? You know
Yeah.
what I really like? I was watching
Yeah.
is all your kind of like fighting grunts, like.
Oh yeah, they're great.
Which you really helped me practice because
Yeah.
my angry face looks
Well,
really happy.
let's tell that. Let's quickly tell that story. That was the whole thing. Was like angry face, and you were like,
I was like, yeah.
I was like, oh boy.
seriously.
And which is great because you're just
I
not
don't
an
know
angry
if that's
person.
so
Yeah.
Great.
But
Troy is the weakest villain in movie history.
no. But you
Did you guys get yourself
in the end you actually went and watched a bunch of YouTube clips of people being angry and just went for imitation.
I mean, bizarrely enough, I'm actually not totally familiar with that emotion because I go very quickly to, oh, it's meant to be, or I
Which
don't.
is what I mean by great. That you're in. You might one of the few of us who don't actually go to that place very often.
Well,
But anyway.
I try not to, yeah, and so I am. I mean, it was surprising to me actually because I was like, gosh, yeah, anger. Like everybody feels anger.
Yeah.
And then when I was actually getting down to it, I was like, what are the? And you were so great because you brought up what are the phases of anger and fury and rage and getting into that. And I was kind of thinking to my own life, and I'm like, yes, when have I been furious? And I literally could not recall a moment. And
And David rattled off 8 from that day. From
But I think that's one of the kind of like amazing challenges of tackling this stuff, all this material, because it's all uncharted territory for a lot of us. Like I've never assembled a newborn vampire army.
what you tap into for that, Xavier?
But it's kind of like it's a leap of faith in a way. Like you can't rehearse a lot of that stuff, in front of the mirror. It kind of the exploration happens, in between action and cut, and to have you there, kind of,
Whispering.
guiding and
Yeah.
and
Adjustments. Remember, I used
those
the word
experiences.
adjustments.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Little adjustments.
which is a great kind of term because it really, it's really just about those. little
Yeah,
tweaks,
sometimes it would just be one word and
Yeah.
the weight of one word and
Yeah.
just being aware of that. But yeah, no, I thought but obviously you built it fantastically, and I thought that the quiet voice, just again as in the book, it just works so beautifully when you when you
Yeah,
turn
it's
and you are
such a-
furious.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
wonderfully.
your help with that. No, I'm serious. I'm serious.
Yeah.
And all throughout the film, I mean, I just felt like there were such nuanced, extraordinary performances, and I think that really did. Obviously, there's a group of really talented actors, but it came from you because it's we know the characters. We're so familiar with the characters and becoming so familiar with the world, and then now it's kind of this moment of crisis, and I love the ways in which you really challenged each one of us to just find every level and play, like create these spinning plates almost, and just like, okay, let's spin that plate, let's spin that plate, let's
Yeah.
spin that, and then it's like tapping into it in the scene. And I just watching the film for the first time the other day, I just so felt that, and it just took us on this ride, and it was.
And
it was
that's,
so
that's what
exciting.
I observed from like your other film, Hard Candy, is like the performances are so measured,
Yeah.
and there's so many opportunities for an actor to kind of spend it all at once or kind of like, blow the top, and just to have you there, kind of guiding that process was kind of invaluable. And when you see the film, it's the kind of the proof's in the pudding.